Welcome to Bet On. I'm Kelly Stewart, your host for tonight. We're going to be breaking down this week's NFL card with Gianni, the Greek gambler, and Marco D'Angelo. Let's have a great show, you guys. It's been a fun season thus far. We're going to kick it off with the primetime games. Sunday night, New England at Baltimore. New England minus 3.5. Total 45. This one's coming down to 3 if it's not already by showtime. I tweeted out the other day, hey, get the Ravens at 3.5 while you can. It's not going to be there for long. I think we're right on that one. No matter how much public money comes in, the books are going to be rooting hard for the Ravens. Marco, your thoughts on Sunday night?
It's going to be a pros versus Joes game. And yes, Bill Belichick's the best coach in the NFL. Yes, New England just keeps winning and covering. And yes, I stepped in front of this runaway point spread machine last week. And guess what, guys? Yes, I'm going to do it again this week. You know what? New England, they've had the easiest schedule in the NFL by far. They've played nobody any good. Last week in a monsoon, they get the win thanks to Cleveland's 3 turnovers last week. Hey, they improved. They had 4 the week before and 4 the week before that. So now they're, 11 turnovers in the last 12 quarters for the Cleveland Browns. But again, New England gets the cover. And how about Chubb going the distance last week? They're going to be set up inside the 10-yard line. We're going to get either a touchdown field goal and instead tomahawk chop. Tomahawk steak. I'm on Baltimore here. Harbaugh, to me, is, there's Belichick, there's Peyton. You got to put John Harbaugh up there in the NFL. He can get a team ready. They've had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. I'm going to go ahead. I am going to take him, and all I can say is Harbaugh is no Freddie Kitchens. We're not going to get out-coached that bad as Freddie. They were down 17 points in the fourth quarter.
And he kicked a field goal.
And he kicked the field goal. You need 3 scores, but you need to.
I have lost so much money on the Browns this year. Granted, I have a nice season win total under, and then there I am betting the Browns 3 separate times. I did not touch that game. Thank God, and that is exactly why. You cannot fix bad coaching. Freddie Kitchens, yesterday I did a show with Dave Koken, and somebody called him Larry the Cable Guy.
He is.
And he is so Larry the Cable Guy from now on for the rest of the season. VR, I know we're going to talk about the look headlines here in the next segment, but this one opened at the Westgate. Look headline, New England minus 6.5. Wise Guys played it all the way down to 4. Opened 4.5 some spots. Now it's down to 3 across the board. Some 3.5 still available. Was that a group that you do a lot of work with?
No, but info that I share with another guy that moves. He has a ton of accounts. They did bet the Baltimore side with him. It's a sharp play. It really is. And it's power rated. I mean, it's strictly based on power ratings because most Wise Guys power ratings do not reflect that New England should be that high of a favorite. But with that said, sharp money has gone against New England over and over and over again with the same reasoning that our power ratings don't reflect the point spread.
Can I stop you right there? One question. Do you think the Wise Guys are too arrogant to maybe
110%.
Okay. That's why I want to
So much so that they refuse to admit that New England's this outlier that's outperformed the betting market. So instead of us waiting for it to regress back to the mean, let's just assume it's never going to happen until Brady and Belichick move on. Like, you just got to let it go. And I've fell victim to betting against New England because I have no choice. I get a percentage of what I move for these guys, and I take a percentage of the accounts as well because I trust they're going to win long term. And all the times I'm peeking in there and I'm seeing we're betting against the Patriots, not just for the game, but even for the first half. Like, they want to get more money in on it because, again, the power ratings reflect New England shouldn't be this high of a favorite. I can't do it. I think the value's on New England in the first half. I think if Baltimore wins this game, they're going to have to grind it out late because I think New England's going to jump out and just surprise Baltimore with what they've seen so far this year. You got to remember, Belichick against quarterbacks in this position, he's demolished them. He's won 21 straight games against quarterbacks who are either rookies or in their second year. He doesn't lose to guys like this. And more importantly, as good of a year as Baltimore's had, 3 of their games were against the bottom 5 defensive teams against the pass. They haven't played a top 15 defense yet against the pass. That changes this week. In fact, it changes for the rest of the season. And now we're going to see how good they really are. Again, like I said, I know I'll have exposure on the Baltimore side because that's what these guys do. I don't like it. I like New England first half.
All right. Yeah, VR with some really good points. I've made money betting against New England last couple seasons on the road.
Picking spots,
small
right,
spots. And
right.
this is my first time besides at Buffalo, so technically the second time this year. Quickly, Marco, or quickly, VR, I'm going to go back to you. Dallas -7, total 48 at the Giants. The Cowboys have proven that in NFC East games they can dominate. Your thoughts on Monday night?
Yeah, I mean, Dallas went into their bye as happy as can be. I mean, you know, the wheels looked like they were coming off. Everyone had quit on them. In comes Philadelphia, the rival, and they put on a show on primetime television, just demolished them. So Dallas is feeling good. It's a spot where you're going to want to look at the New York Football Giants. Why? It's a home dog. It's a divisional game. They have nothing else to play for but a game like this because a team like Dallas is coming to town. So, I mean, everything points to wanting to take the New York Giants, at least situational-wise. But there's not all that much there to the Giants to like. That's the problem here. They can't protect their quarterback. How do you win football games?
I agree. I'm going to go with Marco real quick. I like the under here. Why? Because primetime unders have been crushing this year. Of course, I would love to back the Giants. I can't do it. Plus, Cowboys 7-0 straight up and against the spread in their last NFC East games.
I'm going Dallas here, and it looks like a square play, but this is the thing here. This is going to be not a situational play, but this is going to be strictly a numbers game. We're looking at the Giants. They cannot stop the run. They're 26th in the league defensively, allowing 6.3 yards per play. They're 22nd against the run. They're giving up over 120 yards per game on the ground. If Dallas can run the football, that sets everything else up. Dak has a good game because they're keying on Zeke. You got Amari Cooper. You know what they do when he's healthy. I'm on Dallas. I'm laying the 7 here. I'll go ahead and take Dallas.
I made the total. The total's 48. What'd you make the final score?
I got the score 28-16. So
ooh, I like that.
That would get you under.
All right, great stuff from these guys. We're going to step out for a quick break. When we return, we're going to dig inside the numbers, look at which NFL games have moved the most and why. That's up next on Bet On It.
College basketball tips off Tuesday, November 5th, and we have a tip-off special this week at sportsmemo.com and wagertalk.com. Get the entire college basketball season through the Final Four from your favorite Sports Memo or WagerTalk handicapper for just $6.95 when you use coupon code CBB300. This gets every play, including 5% plays through the Final Four in April. This is a $300 savings. Hurry, this is a limited time offer available at both sportsmemo.com and wagertalk.com.
Did you know every Tuesday is $2 Tuesday at wagertalk.com? We pick the hottest handicapper and offer his best bet for just $2. This is a great way to introduce yourself to the winning handicappers at wagertalk and sportsmemo.com. Okay, guys, it's time to take a deep dive into some of these lines that have moved. The Westgate here in Vegas always puts out the NFL lines about 12 days before. They call those the look-ahead lines. That means you can bet next week's games before this week's games are even played. Once this week's games are played, the lines are going to change. But the question is, are these moves justified or are they an overreaction by the public? Marco, San Fran beating the bricks off another team, now at Arizona laying 10.
And you said they're called the look-ahead lines. Why does your partner on your other podcast want to call it the 12-day line? It's
I don't know.
the look-ahead.
He wants to call it the 12-day
Tell him
number.
I said that's lame.
Okay.
It is lame, or I'll leave a review.
Yeah, you leave a review on the
guys.
podcast.
Yeah. This one here, this is total overreaction. Everybody last week, and I know Carolina came up one of the hottest games with all of the, the sharp players were all on. I
was
stayed
on
away.
Carolina. I knew it.
Stayed
I knew it was
away
a
from it.
loser.
I just smelled a rat. There was when everybody gets on a dog.
I love the Niners.
That they love that dog. Nobody wants that favorite. It bothers me. And we saw a couple games like that last week. There was a college game. But here, you move this 3 points off of one game. Yeah, Arizona got rolled. It was the Saints. It was the return of Drew Brees, blah, blah, blah. And San Francisco looked as good as you could get. But what do we always say, Ace? You're never as good as your best game.
Or as bad, baby.
Or as bad as your worst game. I think this is a little
Especially
bit
in the NFL.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit too much of an overreaction with the number. I'm not saying to run out and take Arizona, but I'm saying this is too much of an adjustment for the San Francisco side. I don't want any part of it.
All right, VR, next up, we've got Chicago at Philly. Philly opened -3, beats the Bills. Chicago loses at home to the Superchargers. Now the line is 5.
5 points too many. Yeah, this is an overreaction based on Philadelphia looking good against a Buffalo team that hadn't allowed anyone to really score on them like Philadelphia did. And then on the flip side of that same coin, Chicago has not looked very good of late. We expected coming into the season there was going to be a regression, just maybe not this significant. I think the value's on Chicago. Most have given up on this team, and I think that's why you're seeing this inflated price, but I think there's some value on the Bears.
All right, Marco. The Toilet Bowl, the Jets at Miami. The Jets were 6.5-point favorites. Miami gets up 14-0 on the Pittsburgh Steelers the other night, and that was about all she wrote. Now the line is 3. Who's laying 3 with the Jets, first of all, on the road? And I also don't want to take 3 with the Dolphins either.
You know what? Sam Darnold may see ghosts. I see 2 really bad football teams here. I don't understand this move. How are you moving this line 3.5 points based on what you saw Monday night?
This reminds me exactly of the Redskins game. It was almost a touchdown. Then it got bet all the way down, and the Redskins squeak by and win this game. I mean,
Kelly, did you see? They were up 14-0, and I bet Miami, but me as a Steeler fan, I'm like, my God, we're down 14-0 to
this team,
to the Dolphins. I'm
people
like,
were starting to leave.
Yeah, I was embarrassed, and but I'm happy.
Was booing them.
I know. I got a winning ticket on Miami, and then all of a sudden in the second half, I had to hold on for dear life to get it.
It's the exact same thing as we saw last week with them at Buffalo. Like I said on Monday night, if you're looking to bet Miami in the first half only.
Here's the thing, Kelly. You saw the 3rd and 20. They called timeout and came out with a play designed to stop the Steelers on 3rd and 20, and they go for a touchdown on 3rd and 20. He would have scored in flag football. Nobody was close. People were speculating that was the ultimate tank job, is because it was a turning point in the game where Miami still was in it until that touchdown. I don't know that I can take 3 points, with a Miami Dolphin team that's tanking, but I don't want to lay points on the road for the Jets.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, VR, we've already kind of touched on this game a little bit, but New England -6.5 at Baltimore. Now New England -3.5, headed to 3 versus Baltimore. You think this one's not warranted?
No, it's warranted by power ratings, but by power ratings that have been wrong for a decade. You know what I mean? That's all it is. It's exactly based on sharp power ratings that have continued to lose money to these New England Patriots.
Kelly, just to add one thing to the New England side, we talked about how soft their schedule's been. Put the fact that they have the softest schedule in the NFL and add to the fact that the turnover margin, they're on the plus side of 23-8.
That defense has looked great. I mean, they've scored more defensive touchdowns than some teams have scored touchdowns.
Yeah, so I mean, when you're a good team and you're playing a weak schedule and you're plus 15 in turnovers,
forget about it.
Guess what? You're going to be an undefeated team.
Touche. All right, guys, we went inside the numbers. Now, where are we going to go for teasers of this week? It's time for the Tease Me segment. Marco, I'll start with you.
Well, this is one, when I saw this number, automatically I said, this will be in every teaser I have. And I'll tell you what, Kelly, if Detroit gets blown out this week by the Oakland Raiders, and you see me at Caesars at the poker table when you're there, I'm going to need a hug, okay?
I like the Lions this week. I didn't think they needed to be in a teaser, but if you think they're a teaser-worthy team.
This is because how are they getting blown out by more than a touchdown to the Raiders?
I think it's going to be a really good game.
I use the phrase when we do these teasers all the time. Can you really expect the Oakland Raiders to get separation in this game? And that's what you're asking to lose this teaser. You're going to get +2, you're adding the 6, you're getting it over all the key numbers that we look for. And let's not forget, the Raiders are coming off that murderous schedule. 5 straight games away from the Coliseum. This is a team that's got to be running on fumes. And let's face it, I was on Houston in my teaser last week against the Raiders. We were lucky to get that. They got the job done. there were players dropping like flies in that game. There was nobody left on defense at the end of the game, and somehow we were able to preserve the win. And I think Oakland, they got to be exhausted after having that schedule and have that close game last week that they should have. So I'm looking at Detroit. I'm going to take them plus the points here. The second half of the teaser, we had to get a little more creative with it, and I'm going to go to the Monday night game. We talked about that already. I like Dallas. I'm going to go ahead and use them on a teaser. I don't see the Giants winning this game, and I know there'll be a lot of people on Monday Night Football that'll subscribe to the home underdog. They don't trust Jason Garrett as a favorite and all of that stuff. But right now, the Giants are not a good football team. Last week's score.
I got very lucky.
We all did. We all had the Giants last week.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's nothing better than hitting the back door with the touchdown with under a minute left in the game. That was the only way we were going to cover that, because the way their defense was last week, if they would have gave the ball back to Detroit with a few minutes left in that game, it would end up being, they could have got another touchdown. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Dallas, tease them down to 1, and another factor with Daniel Jones. Now that every week that he quarterbacks, there's more and more game film. Teams are catching up to him. I like Dallas and Detroit. Double Ds. Who doesn't like double Ds?
Marco tells me I have to behave myself so that we can be on TV, and then he's over here talking about
double-digit dogs.
You guys. All right, VR, tell me your teaser for this week. Last week, both teasers hit. Thank you guys for that. As you can tell, I'm over here typing away. I'm not a big teaser better.
I don't bet teasers. I'll be straight with you. Again, the only way you could make money betting teasers long term is if you tease the numbers. I mean, that's a proven fact. And if you're laying more than 130 on a 6-point teaser, you're not going to be able to beat it. You could have some good weeks, but I mean lifetime earnings. Let's all be honest with ourselves, fellas, when we look in the mirror and not think about the last week or the last month, but lifetime earnings. If you're up on teasers, God bless you. I don't know too many people that laid more than 130 and teased teams. So strictly teasing numbers, we're going to go Jacksonville Jaguars. They already played Houston earlier in the season, kept it within a point. I think they should be able to keep it close here in London. And then I'm going to go ahead and tease the LA Chargers. You're only getting the key number of 7 going through that. But I lean that side to begin with, and I think the extra points give them a little bit more value. Again, not a team with any home field advantage, but I think the extra points help them there. So I'll go Chargers, Jaguars is my teaser.
I'm going to cherry pick your 2. Just because I wanted to bet the Jags at 2.5. I waited. It's now down to 1. So naturally, put it in a teaser. And I really do like Marco's Lions play. I cannot get on board with the Cowboys. So I'm going to do a little cherry picking here. I'm going to take the Jags in Detroit. It is time for us to take a quick break. But when we return, it's time for the Steam Game of the Week from VR and either the Trap or the Sandwich Game of the Week from Marco.
It's been good, too.
Looking for more NFL betting info? Then tune into the presidential address each week when Wager Talk's own Lawrence Presman, the Prez, along with Kelly Stewart, break down this week's entire NFL card. The show is available every week exclusively at Wager Talk TV. This Friday and Saturday are the 2 biggest days of the year in horse racing, as the 2019 Breeders' Cup takes place in Santa Anita. If you plan on betting any of the races, you need to check out Wager Talk's resident horse expert, Sig, as he and Christopher Ado have prepared an in-depth Breeders' Cup betting guide. You'll get a preview of every horse on the card, along with Sig and Christopher's wagering guide. Best part of this guide is they make updates to it right up to race day, so you're always getting the latest and best information. Buy the guide once, and you have access to updates each day. Price of the guide is $39.95, but if you buy it before midnight Thursday, it's just $29.95.
All right, this is going to be a fun segment all season long. Each week, Gianni is going to bring us his NFL Steam Game of the Week, and Marco is going to decide last second whether it's a trap or Steam Game. Just kidding. I always have to give Marco a little side jab because he sits to the right of me. Also, I don't want to, make the Greek man angry. VR, let's start with you. Tell us what your NFL Steam Game of the week is.
I'm going to go ahead and bet a total that the line doesn't appear like it's getting steamed as of today, but pay attention as the week goes on. And that's Tennessee and Carolina. We're going to go under that 41.5. I was kind of sitting back hoping it gets to 42 so I could hit it. I don't think it's going to get there. Listen, Carolina got embarrassed defensively last week, giving up 51 points. I think that defense had a tough week, and I expect them to show up against a Tennessee team that, yes, has played better, I think more efficiently, let's put it that way, without Mariota at the helm. But I don't think they're going to have an easy time in Carolina. And then with that Tennessee defense, again, they've played well, man. I mean, especially since, look, I'm looking at this. They've allowed, one team to score more than 20 on them in the last, 6-7 weeks. So I think this one could stay in that 30s range and get under that total 41.5. A lot of value. We'll go under 41.5 for the Steam game of the week.
All right, Marco, no sandwiches this week. We got a trap game.
We had a trap game last week, and Kelly, this has been my best segment of the show.
7-1 on sandwiches and traps. We had that one time where you bet the Jets and nobody let you live that down. That was rough. I was also on the Jets that night.
It was, the restaurant got closed and everything after that.
Well, it's probably best the health department comes in, we spray everything with bleach, and now we've just been on a nice run since then.
It's been good. And Kelly, this one is very reminiscent of the play that we had last week. We took an ugly road dog that was trappy as hell. We took the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
Who wanted the Denver Broncos after that fiasco that they had on the Thursday night game?
Almost as much as anybody wants them this week.
Okay, well, this is true.
I had to Google who their backup quarterback is.
We are not involved in Denver this week. We got the win last week. Should have been outright, but we'll still take, plus the points there as they gave up the late field goal. This is a spot, Tampa Bay. Who wants Jameis Winston this week?
I was on Jameis Winston last week. It was one of my losers, and you're right. Jameis gone Jameis, because that's what he does.
Yeah, but two of those interceptions were the wide receiver's fault. Like, he got a lot of the blame for those turnovers. But
unfortunately, you shoot the messenger.
True.
He was the messenger of those
you
passes.
get the credit when you win. You got to take it when you lose,
And Tampa Bay's had 11 turnovers in the last 2 weeks, Kelly. And the best part of it is they had, a couple weeks to prepare for that fiasco last week. Well, they did improve. They went from 7 turnovers to 4. So they used the 2 weeks wisely. But here, you got Seattle coming back home. Seattle's on a roll. This is a team that everybody loves, Russell Wilson. But, Kelly, this is a trap. This number is under a touchdown, okay? Just like last week, Indianapolis, a team that was playing impressive. People starting to jump on the bandwagon, and you can do so at a number where they're under a touchdown. And if you want to tease them and how many people are going to say, oh, look, they're at 6.5. Let's just tease them down, and they just got to win the game. Yeah, good luck with that. Tampa Bay, I think, can go in there and pull a surprise here. I'm not sold on the Seattle defense. And let's look at who Seattle's got on deck. They got a big game, Kelly. It's Monday night. Monday Night Football might be the best Monday Night Football game we've had so far. San Francisco 49ers and Seattle. Big game. I just think Seattle is in survival mode. Get in, get out, move to Monday night. I'm going to take the points here with Tampa. Please, Jameis, throw it to your colored jerseys this week, and we'll be okay.
That would be nice. I don't know. I have them on my long list. I don't know if I'm going to get there with you, Marco, but just a word to our listeners. This one's come up from 5.5 to 6. Now we're seeing some square shops here in town at 6.5, so recommend people to hang tight. Maybe, I doubt it gets to 7, but you can at least get a 6
I don't think it gets to 7 because the minute it gets to 7,
it's going to get bet. Yeah.
All of us sharps are sitting around waiting to grab that number. As you say, you bet teams, you bet numbers, not teams. It won't be there for long, Kelly. This is one of those, it'll be a cat and mouse. If it does get to 7, boom, right back to 6.
NVR for yours. It looks like it's hanging steady at 41.5.
Yeah, that's good.
At any point, not to bet it. 41 is the bottom.
Yeah, 41 is one of those numbers that matter
yeah.
in the NFL, so I would stick to that. I mean, I don't think you have a problem. I think he has a chance to get to 42, too. This is going to get bet over by the public.
Good stuff, guys. Let's bring in our resident stat man, Mr. Ralph Michaels, for some TNA. Ralph, what have you dug up for us this week?
Kelly, let's get it started with some Thursday night action. I know Bet On It as a whole doesn't talk Thursday night because we want the longevity of the show, but there's a couple numbers we need to talk about that we probably have mentioned in the past, and I've certainly tweeted out in the past. But when you have an NFL double-digit away favorite, those have been absolutely golden to the under. They've gone 4-28 So 4 overs and 28 unders, 78% to the under. Does it make sense? Absolutely. The superior team on the road just wants to get away with a win. The home team that's a double-digit dog knows they're the inferior team, tries to run the clock, slow down the pace, not gamble in situations that puts their quarterback in bad situations. So it's something that's been money for the last 6, 7, 8 years. And to me, it makes total sense. So anytime we have a double-digit NFL away favorite, you want to be thinking the under for sure.
Almost 78% to the under. And you know what else is almost 78% of the under? Prime time unders this year. I love that. I've been just knocking the hell out of those. So just another one now, 19-6 after Monday night. So I like that because that just gives me that extra motivation to bet this under 43.
You know, with the prime time unders, I think this year, I mean, it's a semi-anomaly because there's nothing that carries over from one year to the next. But we have historic bad teams. Miami, the Jets, Cincinnati, Washington. And
Cleveland.
Every team has to appear on prime time.
Yeah.
So we have these good teams against the bad teams. And that's part of the reason there's been some carryover in that double-digit away favorite role and those prime time unders.
That's absolutely awesome. You have another angle on who to fade on Thursday night.
I do, and this is from week 6 on. So you have to be a winning percentage of 100%. So you have to be undefeated, and it's week 6 on, so you're at least 6-0. So 6-0 teams, 7-0, 8-0 teams moving forward. Well, those 100% teams that are a single-digit away favorite have gone 3-16 against the spread.
Wow.
The visitor is very focused. 2 of them this week. New England is laying 3 or 3.5 to Baltimore, and San Francisco on Thursday night laying points to Arizona.
So that means we have a play on, just to clarify, we have a play on Baltimore plus 3.5 and a play on Arizona plus 10.
It is. I don't agree with the Arizona play, but again, these are systems that you look at for this week and also write down, keep track of, and continue to look and track into the future.
So one of the ugliest games on the board this week is the New York Jets at Miami. You have a nice system that follows that as well.
I do. Something else I tweeted out, which isn't a record that I can tell you about, but to show you how bad Miami is. Since 2000, 19 years of NFL action, there have only been 4 times that a one-win team like the New York Jets has been an away favorite from week 5 on. So you're into the season, at least 5 games. The New York Jets have 1 win on the season, and only 4 times in 20 seasons has that team been an away favorite. Well, that's one angle. But from week 7 on, winless teams at home, 4-13 against the spread. So when you have a bad team and they're at home, it doesn't get any better. 4-13 against the spread. That is to fade the Miami Dolphins and play on the New York Jets.
Wow, Ralph, I don't know if I'm going to get to the window on the Jets there. This Miami team looks good in the first half, but then they just start to falter in the second. Maybe if you like Miami, look at them there. But I do agree with Ralph here. It's the Jets or pass. Now you have something for us on Monday Night Football as well.
I do. And, you know, we're looking at teams. We talked about this in college last week a little bit. Teams that win before the bye, and they're now an away favorite of 3 points or more. So we have a team that has positive momentum. Now they're rested like the Dallas Cowboys are. They beat Philadelphia. The players are healthy. Now you're the superior team as you're an away favorite of 3 or more. How about 40-13? We have 53 plays that this system has applied to. It has cashed 76% of the time. It's to say take the Dallas Cowboys over the New York Giants.
All right. I'm not a big fan of laying a touchdown on the road, especially in prime time, but the Dallas Cowboys have absolutely dominated the NFC East, covered 7 straight. Last but not least, you have one more fade for us.
I do. And does this make sense? I believe absolutely it does. 4-3 teams at home off a loss. So let's set up the scenario. These teams were 4-2. You now lost a game, you're 4-3. You start thinking to yourself, if we lose this game, we're 4-4. And let's add this into the mix. Kyle Allen also went 1-3. He had his first bad game, his first loss, and this is to fade Carolina. Since 2010, these 4-3 teams at home off a loss have gone 2-16 against the spread.
Wow.
11% of the time these teams have covered. So
And I feel like that's tough because Tennessee's really gotten lucky the last 2 games. They kind of got bailed out by the refs against the Chargers. There was that weird turnover there at the end versus the Bucs, but the refs called that back as well. Now they're going to play a divisional rival on the road.
well, not a divisional rival.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But
You're correct.
with different conferences. But
Yes.
Carolina and Tennessee are very similar teams. Defense want to run the ball. McCaffrey's been used so much. We'll see if he continues. I do lean Tennessee, and I like the situation where you have Kyle Allen, who started 5-0 and got all the praise. After a 1-3 ratio, he finally has some adversity. We'll see if he comes out of it. This says he won't.
Ralph, quick question I saw on Twitter that didn't get answered. We got about 30 seconds. When picking these, is there a certain sample size you go off of, or is it just, hey, this is what I'm seeing, even if it is a small sample size?
Well, let me say this. These are cherry picked. When people say, why did you go back to 2015? Well, the year before the record was poor. So these are cherry picked. I do want at least a sample size of normally 20 or at least a few years where it's a fair assessment over a period of time.
Great stuff, Ralph. It is time for us to take a quick break, but when we return, it's time to walk the dogs. Barking Dogs is up next.
Hey guys, Minty talked about taking $300 off the college basketball season in another commercial. Well, you could take $300 off my college basketball season. It tips off Tuesday, November 5th. There are over 140 games. My record the last 2 years, 360 wins, 304 losses, plus 110 units. That means a $100 player is up over $11,000. Don't forget, my last 100 plays have also gone 64-42, 60.3%. College Basketball 300, CBB 300, save $300 off the college basketball price. That's over 5 months of service for just over $100 a month. And make sure you check out the college basketball guide at Wager Talk. It'll be available by Friday. Get returning starters, percentage of minutes back, pace of plays, all the new head coaches, and it'll be free. WagerTalk.com, and check out my homepage.
Over the last 7 weeks, in all sports combined, I'm 54-29, netting my clients a profit of 75%. This week only, you can get 30 days of my all-access service, normally $325 for just $225. When you use coupon code MD225. That's MD225. There's no better time to jump on board than right now. All access 30 days, and it includes our 5% major wager plays. Those plays sell for $40 each by themselves. We've got one 5% play scheduled this weekend. Check it out now. Head to my homepage at wagertalk.com. This offer ends Monday at midnight.
Welcome back. You guys know this is going to be my favorite portion of every single show because why? I love the underdogs. We know Gianni likes to have that little sprinkle on the money line. Let's start off with which dogs VR likes barking this week.
I love the Chicago Bears. That has sprinkle with 2 hands written all over it. Back to the scene, not back to the scene of the crime, but against the team that they faced last year in the playoffs. Remember the missed field goal, the doink?
The doink, double doink.
Double doink. And let's not forget, more importantly, Chicago's coming off the doink from last week. They missed the same opportunity to win a game, and they miss a field goal. I mean, deja vu, but now they go to Philadelphia, who looked a little too good against the Buffalo Bills. Again, expected the regression from the Chicago Bears. We talked about it all these weeks. But just, this is a game I think they beat the Eagles, man. I really do. I think they win this game against Philadelphia. Philly's just too inconsistent.
Philly is very
for my
inconsistent.
liking.
I do agree with you here. This is just a few too many points. But for my Bears season win total under, can they just lose by a field goal?
I have them season win total under
Okay,
too.
perfect. So then we just miss another field goal and everybody's happy.
You truly do want everything, don't you?
I want it all. I want it all, and I want it right now. All right, Marco, your barking dog of this week.
Yeah, I'm not barking for you either.
I didn't ask you to bark
I
for
know,
me.
and I'm not. Okay.
Fine, I won't bark either.
Kelly, I'm looking at the Green Bay LA Chargers. Yeah, I said it, LA. I didn't.
You
say,
got it. You got it right.
I didn't say San Diego. Can you believe that?
I want to say San Diego forever.
Okay. Over under of percentage of Green Bay fans versus Charger fans.
60-40.
Oh, more than that.
You think 70-30?
Oh, yeah.
How cold is it this
Steelers
weekend?
travel well, and Green Bay travels well.
How cold is it in Green Bay?
It was 80% Steelers when they played there a couple weeks ago.
It's cold in Green Bay right now. I can see people wanting to get out. Can you get a direct flight to
San Diego.
Well, they're
LA?
not in San Diego.
yeah.
You know what? You can get a cheap flight there. There's
Probably,
no game.
yeah.
There's no game there. But, you know, I'm looking at this one. In Green Bay, went in last Sunday night. Aaron Rodgers, God bless him. Every time I bet against him, I
makes you
literally,
pay.
that touchdown that he had to the corner of the end zone in the second half, I literally thought he was throwing the football away. It
sure looked like he was.
He's falling backwards and, you know, off his back foot, throws the foot. He's just throwing that out of the back of the end zone. No, just that little wee window that only his receiver could get it and pulls down the touchdown and kills our Sunday night play on Kansas City, but give Kansas City credit. And how about, you know, Matt Moore? He throws big yardage in that game. They didn't lose. Kansas City didn't lose because of Matt Moore, okay? They just couldn't stop Aaron Rodgers. They played well. Now you got Phillip Rivers going to be able to get in here. And, guys, I said it last week. Normally, any other team that would be sitting at 2-5, their season's over. But for the Chargers, they had a ray of hope because Mahomes got hurt. They could get that win, get that third win, get within 2 games of Kansas City if Kansas City would lose to the Packers, which they did. The Chargers haven't played Kansas City yet, so they've got both meetings yet. They actually control their own destiny for winning the division at 3-5, as crazy as that sounds. So that's why this team is still energized and fighting, thinking they can still win the division, and I agree they can. I like the Chargers at home. Look at Kansas City, that game last week. They were able to move the football with a backup quarterback against this Green Bay defense. Green Bay's defense is not good. It's Aaron Rodgers trying to outscore everybody. I like the Chargers here. They should be able to run the football. I don't know why Kansas City didn't try to continue with the running game. Keep Aaron Rodgers off the field. If you got a defense that's having trouble stopping the run, why do you not run? It serves 2 purposes.
All you have to do is copy exactly what the Lions did, and that's how you can beat Green Bay. You own the time of possession, you kill the clock. You give Aaron Rodgers too much time, he's going to carve you up.
The only thing that Detroit didn't do was they forgot to send that payment to the referees, okay, you know, to help them out.
I don't feel bad I had the under, sorry.
Okay, yeah, hey, I did too. I'm glad that they slid down there. But yeah, keep Aaron Rodgers off the field, protect your defense. Kansas City, we know how bad their defense is. Why they didn't continue to run, I don't know. But I like the Chargers this week. I think they're able to get the job done. I'll go ahead, take the 3.5 for my barking dog.
All right, I was looking for a couple barking dogs. I got kind of a Chihuahua here. It's not a very big dog, which is like out of my norm. Marco's game's got some reverse line movement. So does mine. I bet against this team twice last 2 weeks. I had the Vikings and I had the Giants. This week is my play on the Lions. +2, came down from 2.5. It's headed to 1.5 in some spots. So jump on it while you guys can. This is a Lions team that I think has improved. They've played well. I like what Matt Patricia's doing, but more importantly, they've covered 5 of their last 6 road games. This is a Raiders team that has went through an absolute gauntlet of a schedule. And I think that that's going to weigh heavy on the minds of the public. They're going to see this and they're going to say, hey, you know what? The Raiders, short number at home. I'm not buying it. I like the Lions here. I think they win this game outright. As I mentioned, take the couple of points if you want. If you don't, just play the +130 or so. All right, guys. Well, we broke down this card every single which way that you could imagine. So now we're going to roll it out for this week's Best Bets. All right, guys, I'm going to go first. Normally, I don't go first. I lied. I'm going to make VR go first. VR, you go first.
Girl changing her mind. Can you imagine that?
Go figure.
Go
figure that I'm all over the place on a beautiful Wednesday evening. Just because I'm not quite sold on my best bet just yet. This is hard. This is hard for me. You know why? Because cherry picking my own card. I got asked this last week on the podcast, so 30-second rant here. trying to differentiate between 3 and 4 units is not that big of a deal, but trying to find my very favorite play,
Of course.
it's hard.
Of course.
There's a lot of games that I would say I like equally,
and
so
especially it's Wednesday.
it is Wednesday, and by Sunday, my best bets do a lot better for Bleacher Report because I usually changed it. So, VR, I'll start with you first.
And that's why the lines are sharpest towards the end of the week, and that's why books are willing to take the biggest bets closest to game time. That's when you have the most information. That's when they also have the most information. I'm going to go ahead and bet the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Seattle Seahawks. This is way too many points for Seattle to be given just because of how Tampa Bay looked last week with all those turnovers. Here's the one key for this game that sticks out more than anything else. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they do one thing pretty much better than anyone else in the NFL this season, and that's stop the run. You cannot run on this football team if they decide to play defense. And for Seattle to have any success offensively, they gotta be able to run the football. When that team becomes one-dimensional, they're in a lot of trouble. And I don't think they're going to be able to get any kind of separation, double digits, from Tampa Bay with that style of football. So for me, I love Tampa Bay. I think we'll see a regression on the turnovers. We saw it earlier in the season when they had that 4-turnover game, and then they went 4 straight weeks where they had 2 turnovers over 4 weeks. So again, turnovers, there's a huge randomness to it. Otherwise, we would just handicap turnovers. Because if you could predict the team that's going to win the turnover battle, you'll cash 6 out of 10 tickets blindly without handicapping anything else. But it's almost impossible to handicap who's going to win the turnover battle. So again, when you see a lot of turnovers, those always progress and regress towards the mean. Football season is short, so a lot of times you don't have that much time for it to happen. But I like it here. We'll take Tampa Bay plus the 6 and sprinkle away. They could win this game.
Ooh, all right, I like it. Marco, Polo, what are we?
Like I've never heard that before.
I know. All right, tell me who your best bet is for today.
All right, I'm going to go. Ace
Falcons?
talked about. No. No, that ain't happening. We're going to go to a game that you talked about in an earlier segment, Chicago at Philadelphia. Yeah, I'm not sold on Philadelphia. This is not a spot where I believe in the Eagles. Yeah, they looked good last week, 31-13 over Buffalo. But you know what? Buffalo fell apart in that second game. It was a game for the first half. The two teams played tight. And then in that second half, Philadelphia had a couple big plays. Buffalo makes a couple stupid penalties.
It was a few little tinkers, that's all.
And all of a sudden, the game's out of hand. I'm not sold on this Philadelphia team. The defense is still giving up chunks of yardage. And let's talk about Chicago. We know how bad they've played the last couple weeks. 3 straight losses for them. They played an Oakland Raider team in London. You know, these teams, when they go to London, we don't know what you're going to get from them. The Raiders played well. Chicago went to London. They went late in the week. You know, different teams, some go early, some go late. They went late, didn't work out for them. But for Mitchell Trubisky, and I am not a fan of his at all.
Bring in Chase Daniels.
Yeah. Right. But going out on the road this week is actually the best thing to happen for him, okay? Because what's happening when you're struggling and you're playing at home, every bad throw you make, or if you toss an interception, you're going to hear the boo birds.
He's probably already in Philly.
Okay.
He went early.
Yeah.
Right.
When you're on the road, you know you're going to get booed. I mean, I'm sorry. When you're getting booed in front of your home crowd, it's not a good feeling, and it's added pressure. I think he can play better on the road, less pressure. They're getting points here. And we talked about it before, you know, the double doink. Yes, this is a revenge game. I know revenge is the most overused word in sports betting. But for me, when you got beat in the playoff game, especially the way the Bears did last year, come down to the field goal kicker blowing the game for them.
That was bad.
They were a team that defense was nasty last year. They still have a nasty defense. It's suffered a little bit this year, and the reason it's suffered is the offense has been too inconsistent. They're on the field for more plays this year than they were last year because Trubisky has regressed. But against this Philadelphia defense, that you look at it, they have only shut down 2 teams all year. The Jets with no quarterback, that was without Darnold. And then last week, the 13 points they held Buffalo against? And here's an angle that
You're right, because they did not shut down the Packers. They just
No.
outscored the Packers.
Absolutely. In the Dallas game, they went up and down the field on Dallas. Dallas scored 37 points. I think Chicago's going to be able to move the football. I think Chicago wins this game outright. And I'll be honest with you, I was back and forth for my barking dog in the best bet. I saved this one for the best bet because I like it that strong. I do think they win outright, and I want to put the best play in the best bet, and that is the Chicago Bears. We'll go ahead and do it. No double doink, no double D's.
I do agree with every single play we've talked about in this entire segment. That's what I was doing while Marco was talking, was trying to get my bets in before you guys get a chance to blow up the market. It is interesting how sometimes I do see things move. It might just be a coincidence, but it does happen. I'm going to go with my favorite head coach, Coach Mike Zimmer, and the Vikings here. I know Marco was on Kansas City last week. I lost on the under. Of course I did. I mean, I just was blindly playing it at that point, but I did roll with it once again. So I did not think Kansas City as a primetime home dog was it. And I don't think Kansas City as a dog here is either. I know that this one was taken off the board because we didn't know about Patrick Mahomes. Coach Zimmer, 16-5 versus the AFC, including 6-0 against the spread when the Vikings are coming off consecutive wins. That is courtesy of our buddy Mark Lawrence and his playbook. Listen, this is my favorite coach, and why? He excels on these short spreads. We saw him do the same
Covering
thing
machine. Yeah.
at Detroit. This is their spot. This is a Vikings team that will capitalize against this not so good. I don't want to say anything bad about the Chiefs defense, but they're hurt. They're lacking any kind of talent really on the defensive side of the ball without Justin Houston. Listen, this is not going to be Matt Moore's coming out party. He got that against Denver's defense.
Dude, I'm freezing.
Kelly, one quick note for you, because I know we got to get out of here, and you're getting those bets in as we're on air because you don't want the line to move. You realize we're taping the show and nobody knows who we have yet?
Marco's got jokes. Anyway, guys, we're going to step out for a quick break. When we return, it's our final thoughts on this week's NFL action. That is, if I don't drag Marco off this stage in between the break time.
I'm Gianni the Greek Corrales. We're coming off a huge week where I believe it was a combined something like 27-9 in college and NFL combined. It's been a profitable season in both. When I came to Wager Talk a little over a year ago, I didn't promise I'd win for you today because I'd be lying. I can't guarantee that. Instead, I promised I'd do what less than 1% of bettors can do, win for you long term. I'm up over the last 7 days. I'm up over the last 30 days. And I'm up money over the last 365 days. So I'm going to offer you a long-term subscription. That's right, 30 days for only $225. Use coupon code VR225 and jump on board for 30 full days. Get everything, every sport, all access, every day. Get on now, $225. Use the code.
All right, guys, we're going to do a new segment at the end of every show. That is unless, of course, you guys just scroll all the way to the end and only watch this segment. Marco's got you guys on probation. He's watching the YouTube analytics at home like, you guys just scroll all the way to the end. So don't do that.
This is
just so we can recap so you guys can take some notes at the end instead of having to pause and write and do all these other crazy things. All right.
It's easier to remember to come back and tell me when I'm wrong, too.
There you go. Even better.
Make it easier for you.
That'll be perfect. Okay, let's start off with the primetime games. We're a little conflicted here. VR likes the first half, actually, in New England. And Marco and I like the Ravens. Marco and I like, well, I am not going to bet it, but Marco likes the Cowboys. VR also likes the Cowboys. I think I'm going to be on the under in this one. Let's go to the teasers. They were nice little 2-0 last week. This week's teasers, VR has Jacksonville and the Chargers up over the touchdowns. And Marco has Detroit and Dallas. Dallas down to 1, Detroit up to 8. Make sure you guys get on that one sooner than later because that one's going to be going up as well. And Marco gets a little pat on his back. His sandwiches and trap games, absolutely killing it. VR Steam games, profitable on the season. We'll start off with Steam. Tennessee at Carolina, under 41.5. This one's okay, even at 41. If it drops below that, got to stay away. Trap game is Seattle, which means we're taking the Bucks +6. On to the barking dogs. VR likes the Bears, says don't forget to sprinkle a little bit on the money line. I like the Lions here, and sure, why not at +2? It's worth the money line sprinkle as well. Marco This one's come down already since I just had the lady make the graphic. We're starting to see 3.5, so get on this one quickly. Lots of reverse line movement in that one. And last but not least, our best bets. Marco also likes the Bears, says don't forget to sprinkle a little bit on the money line. VR also likes the Bucks, which is Marco's trap game. And I like Minnesota minus 3.5. I apologize, guys. I'm looking at it. It is off the board in a lot of spots. Hopefully, when they announce that Patrick Mahomes isn't playing, which we know he's not playing, that it still stays at 3.5. Don't count out Coach Zimmer, one of the best ATS coaches in the country.
You got a man crush on him, doesn't you?
I love him. That man has made me a lot of money, okay? So yes, my man crush is really of monetary value.
Okay.
I know. I'm in Vegas. I'm one of the Vegas girls. Come on, what do you guys expect?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay.
He's your sugar daddy.
In a roundabout way. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call him that on the next show. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show as much as we did doing it. From VR, Marco, myself, good luck, and until next week, don't forget to bet on it.